Sergeant Major, tell us about an experience where an NCO had an impact on your Army career. Can you remember anything in particular?
Well, actually, I can. It was early in my career in the National Guard. Matter of fact, I was in E5, and I was in Tifton, Georgia, at that particular time. And I was on the verge of actually getting out of the Guard. We had a reorganization, and I actually landed as a crewman on an ITV, improved tow vehicle. And as I said previously, equipment during that particular time wasn't that great. So the vehicle I was on actually was deadline for the most part of the year that I was there. And I'm beginning to get, this feeling I didn't have a purpose, wasn't going anywhere fast in the organization. So I was contemplating getting out. And unfortunately, the same staff sergeant that recruited me into the Guard, obviously I went back to speak with him. And he told me, just give it a minute. And he set me up to talk with the commander at that particular time. And we was actually able to work out a transfer out of that particular MOS into a transportation where I was better suited for. I think there was more, the dynamics were better. It was actually something I felt worth doing. And my career sort of took off all over again at that particular time. And, I felt, I had a purpose. I was being used. Equipment was functional. And it just was a pivotal moment in my career that I probably would have gotten out if it hadn't been for that one NCO.
What insight can you give us on the relationship from an enlisted perspective? What roles do you see for the commissioned and the non-commissioned officer? How do they work together?
Okay. Well, over the course of time, I think that whole relationship have evolved into something totally different in these days and time. I remember when, officers did all of the planning in behind closed doors, and at some point in time, it was given to the NCO Corps to carry out. And a lot of times, you really didn't have a clear understanding of the mission and task that you was carrying out, which, created problems at some point in time. Wasn't real good communication between the two. I think that have evolved into more of a team concept. I know it is with the officers that I work with. We're more of a team than two separate entities. Now NCOs are expected to have input into that plan at the appropriate level, whereas at the same time, they also need to better understand the mission where they can clearly articulate it to the lowest level, because now, the war has developed into where there's actually E5s and E6 running squad level missions. So they need to clearly understand it at that level and below so they can carry it out. So, and also, like I said, now NCOs are expected to be part of the development of the plan also, which is great.
So, to piggyback off of that, tell us about your role as the Georgia Department of Defense Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Adjutant General.
Okay. All right. Well, this is somewhat of a new position, and I'm afforded the opportunity through the TAG is to help develop it for future. And right now, my primary focus is to develop initially a relationship between the Georgia Army Guard, Air Guard, and the State Defense Force. I've done a couple things to initiate that. Here this year in August, we had our first joint senior enlisted conference where we had the Army, Air, and the State Defense Force there as equal partners. Future things that we have is we're planning a NCO and Soldier of the Year competition between the Georgia Department of Defense and follow-on conference, as well as a day-to-day, day-to-day, sometime communication between the three entities. They're very much a part of the organization collectively, and my vision is that during time of disaster, that it's too late for us to look across and see our counterpart in the Georgia Department of Defense and not know who they are, at least at the senior leaders level. I think the officers have done a better job of interacting over the years, but now is a great opportunity for us to develop that for future through the NCO Corps, and that's really my vision.
So from your career, you've had a lot of experience, and soldiers and guardsmen especially can look up to you. What advice do you give to guardsmen who are trying to develop themselves as leaders? Where should they focus?
Well, first, I hope they look up to me, okay? We try to do the right things, and hopefully they can use not only myself, but all senior leaders as parameters of their potential in the future. So we try. I would say at this point in time, I think young soldiers, you're referring to our younger leaders, need to look at their professional development as well as their personal development, hereby educating themselves as early on as possible, civilian-wise. There's great opportunity and support out there for that to happen now. I think they need to make sure that they educate themselves through the military education, and to seek out challenging positions at every opportunity that they actually have, and I think they will be successful. It's pretty simple. Manage your own career.
What experiences do you think have had the biggest impact on you as a growing leader? Can you think back to anything specifically?
Well, obviously, the deployment to Iraq was a very, I think, eye-opening experience, if you would. That just the sheer dynamics of all the things that happened during that initial train-up and the subsequent deployment will forever have an impact on, I think, everybody who experienced it. To name one particular thing, I would say it again just refocused me on my responsibility as a senior leader to the subordinates, people that depend on me.
What experience or event can you recall that best illustrate what it means to be a leader? Can you recall anyone in particular, maybe a leader that was above you at some point?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of individuals that I think have had a profound impact on me as a leader, and one of them goes back to a former state command sergeant major, Billy Manning, who's actually lives in Leesburg, Georgia now. And as a matter of fact, the tag and myself went over there to visit him earlier this year. But he was my battalion sergeant major initially, and he was a very recognizable force in the NCO Corps, and somebody that you could look up to and hope to be like one day. He was a very charismatic leader, as well as a very skilled professional. So, he pretty well had the total package there. He was as well at home in the field as he was sitting behind his desk. So he's one person that I think I've tried to, gather some of those qualities and for myself. And probably the next one I met later in my career, Command Sergeant Major Marvin Hill, who is now the Command Sergeant Major for General Petraeus in Afghanistan. Met him probably about 6 years ago, and he's become one of my mentors, and we stay in touch pretty much. He's been a great leader for the whole Army for a number of years now. So he's someone that I really look up to, and I think he got a lot of great leadership characteristics.
Is there anything else that you would like to add, Sergeant Major?
Well, I would say, to the force as a whole, and that's the Army, Air, and the State Defense Force, that, I think collectively we form a very competent group. I think that we serve a great purpose, and I think we're tag in the CG from all organizations to have a great strategy on our way forward. And I'm just happy to have opportunity to be part of that this organization now, an opportunity to have influence and input on what this organization look like in the next 5 years. I think we got a great opportunity here to develop programs that support our younger soldiers and airmen and State Defense Force for future operation. That's education-wise, military and civilian, provide them professional development as we go, expose them to senior leaders across the DOD and state that will give them opportunity to learn some great leadership traits. So it's a good time to be in this position I think personally, but at the same time, I always go back. It's not about me. It's about what this position can do to affect soldiers now and in the future.
Well, thank you, Command Sergeant Major Nelson, for talking to us and sharing your experience and insight with us. Hopefully, you'll be able to come back and speak with us again.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Really enjoyed being here, and I hope the words that I was able to provide will provide some insight into this position and help soldiers better plan for their future.